Good evening and welcome to my humble kitchen. I'm Tiffany. This is my Anderson Therapeutics Aging Well channel. Last week I took on a nutritarian 10-day challenge with some other gals who were also interested in adding more nutritious foods to their diet, some who don't follow a plant-based meal plan like I do. And each of us had our own thoughts on what we were hoping to experience, accomplish. I shared a couple of updates last week and a few pictures of the salads. If you aren't familiar, Dr. Joel Furman is the physician who created the nutritarian approach, and the challenge of it was for 10 days. We simply added a big leafy green salad to either our lunch or our dinner. And the salad had specific vegetable and plant ingredients in it. I'll put the information in the description if you want to know details. I want to summarize today. Each of us had interesting experiences, and my goal in taking it on was not to lose weight. It was more of the internal markers. I'm very conscious of, blood pressure, all of those biometrics that we check, and I still weigh every day. It's something that I've done for decades. It's just habit. So I like to see how my body fluctuates, and it's feedback for me, and I value that feedback. The thing I found most interesting on day 1 and day 2 was that I slept much deeper than I typically do, and I woke up a lot earlier, and I'm already an early riser. And I also had a lot of energy that shifted by about day 5. I was still having, the positive results. I found that the addition of a mass amount of raw vegetables, which since it's well into October, it's getting really chilly here in Utah, and I typically like to have hot, hearty foods. Another reason I wanted to show, I have talked about my Veggie Loaded Hash Browns a lot. I've written blog posts about them. I've shared it with many people who love the taste, and wanted to show you how I put that together. Back to the challenge. The aspect I found interesting, and because Dr. Furman encourages that you use a seed-based dressing as part of the nutritional powerhouse ingredients in the salad, they were delicious. Though they were really rich and a lot heavier than I normally would have. I make a really light vinaigrette using aquafaba, which is the liquid off of chickpeas. If you're not familiar, aquafaba is a great substitute for a number of things, and it's a really great ingredient for those of us who follow a plant-based diet. It's phenomenal. And because my vinaigrette is so light, I typically have just a really, I like a vinaigrette, though I don't eat oil. So having a seed-based dressing for 10 days on top of a lot of roughage, I was really surprised at the amount of bloating, and I actually gained weight, which surprised me. I wasn't expecting that. And by the end of the challenge, I was actually feeling really achy and sluggish. So I wasn't understanding if my body was going through a detox or not sure. It was interesting. I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy it. The salads were delicious. It was an adjustment for my system, and because I'm not used to eating a lot of raw vegetables when it's cold weather. I found that when I shift my diet along with the seasons, I like to eat things that are in season. And by just having something warm, it feels more natural for my digestive system. Do you change your diet based on the season? When that thought when I say that, the immediate thing that comes to mind is the fact that we're getting into holiday season, and thinking about all the advertisements for the pumpkin spiced everythings. I love pumpkin as a squash, though I'm not a fan of like putting pumpkin spice on everything. It's very personal preference. I really like acorn squash. That's delicious. The seasonal foods, we've got, I'm in the States, so Thanksgiving's ahead, and with all of the December holidays and those type of dishes. Are you one that actually changes pretty dramatically what you eat in the spring, summer, winter, or do you eat a pretty standard, basic, by the same types of vegetables, same types of fruits, same types of whatever department that you're shopping in, whether it's dairy, meat, seafood, bakery, whatever? I've really found that for me and how I shop, how I like to dine, and what feels really easier on my body to digest and make use of, that when I eat the produce that's in season, I feel like it tastes better, for one thing. Let me show you these neato. I shared another video about foraging and for foods. I have wild mint growing out front that I use in desserts and salads and that type of thing. And I happened upon, it was about a month or so ago, there's like this rogue, crazy cherry tomato plant that certainly wasn't there last year, though it has gone like down this little hill and branched out in this weird vine type pattern. And there's a number of us who walk through the neighborhood. I spotted one woman foraging and went out later to just figure out what the heck she was rooting around in, because she had gloves on and had a little basket. And I thought, what's over there? Well, it's these. And I've picked a lot of them green, though. If you don't know, you can pick, you can pick tomatoes when they're still green. They're great green. I will still eat them, but they will ripen in a sunny window. And we're gonna have a hard freeze soon, so I knew that I needed to get out there and take what I wanted, not take them all, because there's a bunch of us in the neighborhood it's an enormous plant. These little babies are so much tastier. All of the tomatoes I'm buying now, because tomatoes are in season, it's a wonderful time. I roasted a bunch and then made a blender salsa with roasted and raw vegetables, and I finished that up last night on a lentil bowl that was yummy. These are going to go into my Veggie Loaded Hash Browns. This is one of my favorite meals, the easiest meals, and I've been off work for a little while, and I had some of my side gigs and a writing project to finish up. And it is, it's 6:15, and I have a program coming on at 7 o'clock. So time's a wasting. Let's get cooking. Let me show you what I put together, starting out with my handy dandy, nothing real fancy, just a generic non-stick frying pan, and then a lid that doesn't quite cover the pan. This is essential for this dish. And I will show you why as I get it set up. So let me get everything else. And thanks for watching as I putter. And as I am new to YouTube and using my Android phone, ooh, this is noisy, I have yet to dabble into the editing side of, like, you know, doing takes and retakes and chopping things up together and that type of thing. I watched a bunch of Kevin Colby's videos, and he talked about just having raw, unedited talk and go with it. So that's what I've been doing, and whether that's right, wrong, or indifferent, I'm learning as I go. Oh, these plain old, these are just hash browns I buy at Winco. They're the ones that there's 0 fat. The only thing that's in here is potatoes and a couple of other preservatives, 70 calories a cup or whatever, but I just put just enough at the bottom to cover up the pan. And then I've got some chopped broccoli. I put a little bit of that just in the center. My handy dandy frozen greens that I've showed in many other. I buy the big bags of, this is spinach, the baby spinach, and put in these freezer bags. And then when it's frozen, that's when I can crunch it and put into any number of things, especially in my morning oatmeal. I'd had that again this morning with blueberries. It was yummy. So that goes in a little pile in the center. I'm going to stick these back in the freezer because they defrost really fast. And then to that little pile, I will just cut the little tomatoes in half. This just makes a nice little pocket where the more fragile vegetables stay housed between the layer of potatoes. So then I cover that up. And I don't measure, I just eyeball it. I'll measure for some things. So see, this is a good size pile in this pan. This is 1 serving. This is my dinner. And then I've got a couple of slices of onion. This is just a yellow onion. I like red onion. That's usually the one that I will go to. These little slices needed to be used up. So that goes along the top. And excuse me, as you can see, I have a gas stove here. So see, I just put the lid on, so it's just covering just enough, just flat right on the food. And then I put the burner on. I take it all the way up to high, and I set my timer for about 17 minutes. And at the 17-minute mark, because the way this is set up with the lid is steaming the potatoes just enough where all of the potatoes are going to defrost, and it's also going to give a nice crusty browning on the bottom with the, see, there's no oil in here. You don't need it. Dr. McDougall, who created the starch solution, he had this great phrase. You might like it, you might find it offensive. He would always say in a lot of his videos, all the tutorials, all the videos when I met him in person, the fat you eat is the fat you wear. As I studied his starch solution program and then gave it a whirl myself, took on his 10-day free program, never looked back. Most amazing health results I've ever experienced in my life. Best meal plan ever. Has been such a fit for me. Solved many problems. Got me off a number of medications. Amazing. Anyway, the reasoning of that, and I will put a video from Dr. McDougall. He passed away last year. But it's a comprehensive explanation from a very renowned physician on why eating oil is not in your body's best interest. And I have found for me since 2016 that I am living proof that it is remarkable. Back to these potatoes. Nonstick pan, a high heat that I'm watching. It's not going to burn, though. Hash browns, you know, the browning, the crispiness, that's part of the yumminess of eating hash browns. So at that 17-minute mark, and I've just figured that out with trial and error, knowing how, that's just how the timing on my stove. Then I can, I mush it down with my handy dandy spatula, and I will just go in and cut wedges, and that way I can easily just flip it over, and then when I flip it over, put the lid back on. It takes another about 7 to 6 minutes. A lot of times it will depend on the weather. If you're at high altitude, you'll probably understand this, or even if you, whether you're in humidity or not. I live in a very high altitude, dry climate, and I'm used to how things cook in my area and on my stove. After I bring everything out, put it on my lovely Disney plate. Then I bathe it with lots of hot sauce, a little bit of sea salt, and then I will be finishing the meal off with about half a glass of orange juice, the high pulp stuff. That's my dinner. Might have something later. I've got a bunch of fruit. I've got popcorn. Did you see my photo that I posted showing making microwave popcorn just using a brown paper bag? And you don't need oil. It's so inexpensive, so easy, delicious. Thanks for watching, and thanks for your interest in my channel, in the food that I eat. I chose this plan that came about because of excuse me, that's starting to thaw. It was a bit of a health crisis when I discovered this way of eating. And I'd been on a zillion diets before, tried many things, especially when I was a younger woman. And this has been the most remarkable, specifically for health results and for the fact that I don't feel that I'm missing anything. I don't feel that I'm sacrificing. And because the health benefits are so significant, it's well worth my time and effort. As a health educator, as the founder of Anderson Therapeutics, and someone who has worked in the field of health since 1996 and been a patient advocate, a caretaker, and working currently in public health, I encounter a lot of people who are facing health challenges that simply by making some minor modifications to your meal plan, lifestyle matters. And that message is not new. It's the consistency and the day-to-day that your body's looking for. I will leave a link to my website. all of the resources, tips, and tools that are designed for mature adults to better manage chronic conditions. They've been free on that website since I launched it, also in 2016. This has been so remarkable for me that I've wanted to share it with others, and that's why I'm here. I appreciate you again for watching. Give this a thumbs up. It really matters, especially for those of us who are new to this platform. Subscribe if you'd like to hear more, learn more. I have a lot of information I'd like to share, and I hope you have a wonderful evening and also have a delicious dinner.